All right, welcome back to team number 24, rebuilding all 30 NBA teams. Today we're on the San Antonio Spurs. They just drafted Wemby number one. They have a couple young guys in Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson. They got some vets like Zach Collins, Trey Jones. They have 18 people on the roster right now. We can look at the whole roster. Yeah, I mean, they got Jeremy Sochan, another young guy. They got Malachi as well. You know, they got some vets, Devontae Graham, Reggie Bullock, guys like that. This is a really young team. I'm going to build around Wemby for sure. I don't expect to be good the first year. Usually this team ends up with like the number one pick. So I'm going to probably make a couple trades to maybe avoid the number one pick, but still be, you know, I want to be decent, but I don't want to be terrible either, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, obviously we need to already shorten the roster down to 15 people. Get rid of 3 guys real quick. Try not to get rid of crazy young guys, but right now, honestly, Wemby probably isn't going to come off the court, assuming he doesn't get hurt. But I like this young core they have. I like Trey Jones as my starter, at least for year one. I think I'm going to get rid of some of the vets, like Zach Collins. I think I can bring elsewhere. Actually, I might hold on to Zach Collins just because he's 25. Matter of fact, scratch that. Anybody who has 1 year left on their deal, I'm just going to try and flip for guys that are going to be here long term. You know, a guy like Brook and pick up a first, I think is a pretty solid move. I think that is what I'm going to do, just because that is going to make us just a little bit better this year, but won't be crazy better. Good little sixth man. And yeah, I think I also am going to flip Devontae Graham just for a younger backup point guard. Not a single point guard in the trade finder. I'm going to bring in Denny Avdia to be a backup power forward. I think he can get some decent minutes here. And then, yeah, we're going to trade Kem Birch and Charles Bassey for a backup point guard now. And then we will just get into simming. Like I said, don't expect this team to be good right away. It's definitely going to be a 2-3 year rebuild. It is what it is. Hopefully we can just get through this first year as quickly as possible. Nobody really in the trade finder. So I will just go ahead and sign a backup point guard here. I'm sure there's somebody like a John Wall that I can bring in for the 1 year to run my backup one. And then, yeah, like I said, they actually want to start him. That's fine. Rotation's looking pretty solid for year one. Kind of want to leave this young core alone and just, you know, let the season play out how it does. Yeah, at the trade deadline, we were god awful as expected. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trade Brook Lopez because his overall is going to tank. He's like 35. Might be asking why I traded for him for the first place. Well, in case we were good, to have another backup center would be nice, but also this, have him as a mentor. But it doesn't really seem to be working, and Wemby will probably be fine on his own. So I'm fine with trading Brook Lopez away. Honestly, just going to try and get value. We got to pick with him, so if we can get another pick back, honestly, I think that's perfectly fine. They want to give us Drew Holiday. See, the thing is now we almost have to like commit because we're not going to be good now at all. Miles Bridges, don't really need him as much as I would love to pick him up. D'Lo, same thing. He's getting up there in age. I mean, we do get a first in the deal and we get the best player. Looking at that, that might be the move. That shouldn't necessarily be a win now move because we also pick up that first. How has Brook been doing? I actually don't know. It's been pretty solid for us. John Wall has been pretty solid. But we'll pick up D'Lo because we also get this first. We can always flip D'Lo in the offseason. We had Trey Jones starting. They want to keep Trey Jones starting. Perfectly fine by me. And nobody that's of crazy importance is going to lose minutes because we can still give Blake Wesley these minutes. Which this dude, I have the most random card of him, like trading card. Like I have like a rookie sweater thing. It's like the weirdest thing ever. So hopefully this dude turns out to be a dog, so I can sell the thing for like $100 down the line or something. I don't know. It's a cool card, but like it's just the most random player and the most random thing. It's not even a jersey. It's a sweater. Like clearly he never wore it. We have nobody up for an extension, so we're just gonna keep simming. I don't think that deal makes us like that much better. It should make it so we can compete a little bit more. But yeah, we're just gonna fast forward to the end of the year. This first year is gonna be pretty quick, anyways. Ja MVP, Wemby Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year Chris Paul, Evan Mobley DPOY, Daniel Gafford Most Improved, Joe Mazzulla Coach of the Year, and then the Warriors Executive Alexander Panel wins Executive of the Year. I feel like we don't see Ja a lot. That's a really good stat line for him. I wonder if somebody got hurt then. And then Wemby puts up Wemby numbers as expected. 19 and 11 a game for him. Pretty good shooting splits as well. There is a world that he's potentially on the third team. He's not. Jared Allen is on the third team. Probably had to be a little bit better for him to be on that third team. but Wemby on the first team, and then no rookies on the second team. We were terrible. 26 and 56. That is the first team I've ever had, I think, missed the playoffs. But I'm not necessarily against it. We'll take a look at the stats. And yeah, I mean, Wemby led the team in points, led the team in rebounding by far. D'Lo was a pretty solid pickup. Didn't help us win games, so that's fine. He's 28. If he progresses, I'll probably hold on him. If he regresses, I'll just flip him. Not that big of a deal to me. And then, yeah, I mean, there's a look at everybody else's stats. We'll just sim here real quick, show you guys who ends up winning the title. We got a Suns-Hawks finals, and the Hawks win in 4. Heading into the year 2, everybody's super young, should either be restricted or still under contract, so I'm not worried about that. We might have money, but this is really the big thing for us, is where do we land in the draft? We have the number 2 and the number 10 odds. Do we get the number 1 pick? We do not. We get number 3. Okay. Like usual, these are auto-generated players, so I have zero clue who's in this draft class. We could get our point guard of the future. There's a world where RJ Bryant falls to us. He's got James Worthy Hall of Fame ceiling. Or we can get D'Lo, a younger D'Lo. Or we could get Jamal Murray. Or we could get Steve Kerr. Just like, there's not a lot of ceiling on any of these guys except for RJ. Is there a world I can go get him, and do I necessarily need him? We do have Keldon Johnson, 6'5". Potentially could play the shooting guard. I don't know if, like, 2K wise he could play the shooting guard. He could, which would move Devin Vassell either to the bench or to the 1. I don't like, there's a world I can make it work. The question is, do I want to, and is the price low enough to do that? The Nuggets, okay, the Nuggets have the number 1 pick. They want Wemby. That's not happening. I was gonna say, if I can get like D'Lo in 3 to get 1, I'll do it. Other than that, no, we're not gonna do that. Pop is locked up, so we're just gonna see. If RJ slips, we could potentially take him at number 2, but they're gonna take him number 1. So who does OKC take? They take the other small forward, Dan Butler. So now we basically just have to pick, who do we want as our point guard of the future? I think it'll be Lowell Quinn. Jamal Murray, he has the highest ceiling. He's only 1 overall worse. Less badges though. A lot of shooting badges, all bronze, and then a lot of shooting badges for him. So really, he's just missing the playmaking. I think the higher ceiling is really what's going to help. So I'm going to take Lowell Quinn to make him my point guard of the future. And then I don't know what our other pick is. I probably should have looked. We have 11 and 17, so we have a busy draft here. Taking a look at this, Gus Foster, Steve Kerr is still around, but I don't think we need him. Tom Chambers, All-Star. Sean Marion, All-NBA. Could take Richard Atkins. He has no badges. We don't know what Stephon Mercer's badges are. Yeah, we're getting to where we don't really know the badges too much, but I think All-Star ceiling is enough for me to take Stephon Mercer out of LSU, I think is what that just said. And then Richard Atkins is still sitting there, so we can just go ahead and take him. He's from Sweden. And then the second round, that's the computer, like usual. But yeah, 76, 76, 72, and then 273s. I don't think that's terrible. Our scouting was a little bit off, but that's not that big of a deal. Of course, we'll bring back everybody, and then we will extend qualifying offers to these 3 guys. Is D'Lo under contract? D'Lo is. D'Lo might get moved because I feel like I can get more value than I'm gonna get by having him. As first things first, we'll just scoop up all our guys. Yeah, lock them in. Renounce everybody else's rights to give ourselves more money to play with. Desmond Bane, you know, we always see him here. I always say that could be interesting. Isaac Okoro could be interesting. Kenny Martin Jr. always is a pretty interesting guy to go get. Could go get Miles Bridges. Would love to pick up Sadiq Bey, but he is restricted, which makes that pretty hard. Vando could be a solid pickup. I think he could potentially be the move. I'm going to make sure we can lock in all our guys first and then just see what we have money-wise. Because, yeah, I mean, there goes all our money. But we don't necessarily need anything. I think, honestly, it's just to make some trades. I do want to kind of start Lowell Quinn next year. So that means D'Lo definitely has to move. Outside of that, it's just make sure that our young guys developed well. And yeah, I think, you know, D'Lo, great rental to keep us, you know, around. But also, it was a better, I'm going to look at it as more of a store of value, if that makes sense. Like, his overall wasn't going to drop. I had no clue what Brook Lopez's overall was going to drop to. Davion Mitchell could be the move. Jamal Murray is also a fun one. Do I take Jamal? It's a year younger. making more money. He could start. I could make our rookie the 6th man and just trade away Trey Jones, or I could potentially make him a shooting guard. That honestly could be the move. Yeah, I mean, Jamal Murray Wemby would be a lot of fun. It looks a lot, I feel like that could look a lot like Jamal Murray Jokic in a way. I know Wemby and Jokic don't necessarily play the same, but just that point guard center type of vibe. And then could I make Trey Jones? I could not make Trey Jones the backup shooting guard. Could I make Lowell Quinn the backup shooting guard? No, I could not. So I think Trey Jones has to go as well. I could use him to get a backup shooting guard or potentially a backup small forward, just because Richard Atkins wasn't as good as advertised. We'll use our 2nd round pick, Andy Watson. Don't really know much about him. Max Strus, potentially. He kind of fits what we are looking for at that backup 3 position. Young guy. I mean, he is 28. He's making a lot of money, but I think it's worth it. He shouldn't necessarily regress. That helps build out the roster just a little bit. One of these point guards has to be able to play shooting guard. Otherwise, somebody's just going to have to get moved. And Blake Wesley is the guy. You know, I'm not necessarily sure what I'm going to do to cut somebody or trade somebody in the small forward position. But outside of that, we have all our guys at every position. We'll go into player progression, see what happens there. So Wemby's up to an 87. Devin Vassell's up to an 83. Malachi's up to an 81. Jeremy Sochan's up to an 81. Denny's up to a 79. Charles Bassey's up to a 77. Blake Wesley's up to a 75. Ty Jerome's up to a 76. That makes it harder to decide who's going to get moved. Still a really young team and like a really raw team. There's not like a certified like superstar, at least like overall wise. Do I potentially try something crazy? Do I flip like Keldon Johnson and someone for another superstar? Potentially somebody had better defense than him. That's just an amazing basketball move. Pick up Davion Mitchell, but I mean, it just doesn't really fit what we're trying to do here. That would completely change our plan if we were to do that trade. Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid, same thing, would change our plan a little bit. I'm gonna look to see, just because we have to make a trade before we get into next year. I'm thinking small forwards, A+. We'll go A 3-pointer or B+ 3-pointer, and then A+ perimeter defense. Who fits that mold? Kawhi, Isaac Okoro, who's a free agent but we can't sign. It's just an interesting bunch of players. RJ Barrett potentially is easier to go get. Do I go RJ Barrett, Keldon Johnson? 1.7 more than allowed. That's fine because we have to get rid of somebody anyways. And then throw in some picks to get this done. 2 picks. I want to hold on to our own pick if possible, but we have so many picks. 4 picks we can throw at them to go get RJ Barrett. Welcome to the squad. So Jamal Murray, RJ Barrett, and Wemby as our big 3. I love that. You know, I'm going to give Lowell Quinn as many minutes as possible to help him develop. And then now I think the team's ready to go to just get right into simming. All right, Giannis MVP year 2. RJ Bryant, the #1 pick, ends with rookie of the year. I'm going to be interested to see where our guy ended up. Miles Bridges, 6th man of the year on the Jazz. Giannis, DPOY. Jalen Duren, most improved. Yeah, I mean, he usually wins one. He usually goes to the Wizards like crazy. It's like weird how often he ends up there. And Ben Sullivan of the Rockets wins coach of the year. Same with their executive, winning executive of the year. Do we have any Spurs? Wemby is on the 3rd team, putting up pretty similar numbers, just a little bit better than they were last year. Shot the ball better. Defensive team, could he potentially be on a defensive team? No, he is not. And then Lowell Quinn off the bench ends up 3rd in voting. Pretty good rookie year from him. And then there isn't even an all-rookie 2nd team. All right. So we ended up as the 3 seed. 10 games back from the 1 seed, 3 games back from the 2 seed. Not a terrible spot to be in. I think there is a world that we can get this done in year 2 here. RJ Barrett was our leading scorer at 20 points a game. Jamal Murray put up 15 a game. Ended up being the 3rd star. It is what it is. I still think that was a good trade. Good role for him to be put in. You know, I plan on keeping him around if we don't win this year. I don't plan on doing anything too crazy except for, you know, beefing up the bench since it would be year 3. But yeah, I mean, there was a look at the stats as we get into simming here against the Lakers. I don't think LeBron retired. I don't remember seeing him retire. Yeah, LeBron's still there. They do not have AD. I don't know if he's hurt or if he just left. They replaced him with Brook Lopez. That's why I got rid of Brook Lopez, because I traded for him when he was an 84, 83. Now he's down to an 80 already. Spencer Dinwiddie, Vando, Brook Lopez, Jalen Hood, Shafino. It's an interesting team around LeBron. As we split games 1 and 2, we take game 3 and game 4, and that'll be a gentleman's sweep as we'll play the Utah Jazz. They have 6 man of the year Miles Bridges behind John Collins, and then outside of that, they just have their normal Utah Jazz squad. They beat that Suns team. Okay, that Suns team was just in the finals. We split games 1 and 2. We take game 3. We take game 4, and another gentleman's sweep as we are playing the Houston Rockets. They had the coach of the year. They traded for Michael Porter Jr., so the Nuggets just blew it up. We took Jamal Murray, so then they just got rid of Michael Porter. That's a really solid team. That's like an elite pickup for them. But we take game 1. We split game 2 with them. They take game 3. We take game 4. 2-2 split. We take game 5. And it's going to a game 7 here at their place. What is Houston's arena? Toyota Center? Sounds right. It's a tight game here. Back and forth. It looks like they might pull out the win here. They're up. Ooh, we came storming back. I was going to say they're up like 10-ish. We are going to go to the finals in year 2. Wemby with Conference Finals MVP, 17 and 12 a game. Here we go. Year 2. I thought there was a way that we could get this done in 2. The Barrett and Jamal Murray trades made this possible. Now we just need to get past the Cavs, who kept their core together. Everybody's healthy on both ends of the floor. We're going to shorten the rotation just a little bit. Yeah, we're going to lose minutes here for our rookie. He's been struggling anyways. And then Max Strus, I don't think we need Max Strus minutes in the finals. But we lose game 1. We take game 2. I did not mean to simcast game 3. We don't need to simcast that early. We take game 3 and game 4. There it is. Year 2 championship for the San Antonio Spurs. Now we are rolling. Wemby puts up 22 and 15 a game and 6 assists in. Oh my, this stat line, the more I look at it, is crazy. Shot 44% from 3, almost 3 blocks a game, 1 steal a game, 6 assists, 15 rebounds, 22 points, 48% from the field. Ridiculous numbers. Blowout win in game 5. RJ Barrett with a 32 bomb. Okay, there it is. Those are 2 solid trades. RJ Barrett and Jamal Murray. The overalls are like a lot lower than some of the teams I've built, but it just worked. Rebounding wise, I think the rebounding was pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, we have 2 A+ centers and a B+ center. He didn't really play a lot. We had decent rebounding, good defense. Yeah, I mean, really solid perimeter defense. We had our 3 scorers, and then everybody else just played their role well. Yeah, I mean, surprised that, looking back at the team, that we got it done in 2, but I thought for sure we would get it in 3. We have the Phoenix Suns next. That one should be a gimme. We just saw them win it in year 1. Really, it's going to be similar to the Nuggets one, where it's just going to be rebuild the bench. I have no reason to mess with the starting lineup outside of maybe I'll leave Josh Okogie, because Josh Okogie's my guy. So yeah, we got the Suns one next, and then we're on the bottom row already. We're almost done. So yeah, other than that, I'm out. Peace.